Welcome to Making It in Music, brought to you by TeachMusic.Academy, where musicians and educators learn, grow, and inspire the next generation. I'm Louis Tan, a music educator and studio owner for over 30 years of experience. In this podcast, I talk to artists, educators, and performers about their real journeys, the challenges, the turning points, and the successes, and what it takes to make it in music. Join me and discover your own path at TeachMusic.Academy. Welcome to Making It in Music, where we explore real stories behind musical success, from teaching studio to performing on concert stages and everything else in between. Today, I'm so excited to welcome Ben Carson, whom I personally know for about 17 years. He is a passionate educator who is dedicated to teaching and inspiring students through the guitar. Ben's teaching journey began right here at Musica Academy when he was just about 20 years old, while studying classical guitar at the University of Calgary under Dr. Ralph Maier. Since then, Ben has performed with the Calgary Civic Symphony, taken part in international guitar festivals, and guided his students to RCM Gold Medal achievements. Beyond teaching, Ben also completed his MBA and worked at the Victoria Symphony, managing their education and community outreach programs. Now back at Musica Academy, where it all began, Ben brings with him not only years of experience, but a deep passion for helping students find joy in their musical journey. Welcome to Making It in Music. It's wonderful to have you here, Ben.
Thanks so much for having me, Louis.
Excellent. Let's start with some background stories here. When we first met, what were your impression of Musica Academy?
I was just very surprised to be able to get a job that paid so much more than minimum wage when I was just 20 years old. I think I was making $11 an hour at the time at Canadian Tire or something, and then the opportunity to teach music came up, and it was so much more lucrative and so much more fun than anything else that I was very grateful. Yeah.
That was wonderful. I was going to hire you.
Yes, I remember, yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Can you tell us how your music journey began?
When I was about 8 years old, I told my dad that I wanted to play guitar, and he had been a professional clarinet player before becoming a lawyer. And so he said, okay, you can learn guitar, but you have to learn classical guitar and get a proper training. So actually, Ralph Maier was my first teacher when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
He found the best teacher in Calgary and sent me to MRU. Back then it was Mount Royal College. And yeah, so I started when I was 8 years old, taking lessons.
Right. Oh, excellent. You're lucky to find a good teacher.
Yeah, I was. It was very formative.
So you actually started teaching at Musica Academy when you were just about 20. And what was it like for you as a young teacher?
It was fun. I think at first I didn't realize how much I didn't know. So there was definitely a steep learning curve. I think there were a few times where I had imposter syndrome, like, do I actually know how to teach? But the best way to learn anything is by actually doing it. So just like the more students that I taught year after year, I just kind of gradually developed my confidence.
Right. Sometimes the students teach us more than what we know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or by reteaching them, you gain clarity.
And I've also, what I appreciate is that like some kids, they'll bring the songs that they're interested in, especially pop music. And then that gives me new songs to learn to teach.
Right. Excellent. So that's why I started the Teach Music online course, to provide young teachers with more support when they first starting out. As you know, that we need more support when you're starting out, how to teach, how to deal with certain situation here at Teach Music Academy. Okay, so looking back, did you imagine that teaching would be such a big part of your life now?
No, not really. I think in the first year of studying at U of C, you don't have to declare a major. And in the second year you do. And I'd already been working at Musica Academy for that full year. And that's when I decided, okay, I really enjoy teaching. And so I'll follow this path. But at that point, I actually did not know, or I didn't expect to be a career teacher. It just one step led to another. And yeah, here I am many years later.
Right. Excellent. So you are also a school teacher at a private school,
A charter
a
school.
charter school, right? And for other subjects like math or science or
Yep.
phys ed.
I've taught a lot of phys ed
Right.
along with music and a little bit of math science as well. Music is definitely my home base, though.
Right. So what do you like teaching more, the music or the general subjects?
Ooh, I think I like teaching music the most. That's where I feel that I have the most to share with students. That's like the sweet spot of my competence. Having said that, I really enjoy teaching music privately, one-on-one or in small groups, partially because those students have opted in to learning. And so there's a lot more buy-in from the students. Whereas when you're teaching a classroom of 30 children music in the school, it's like you're forcing them to learn against their will sometimes. So it's not always as rewarding to teach in the school system, but in other ways it's more rewarding because there's a different kind of energy and dynamism to a classroom. So ultimately, I would say teaching private lessons is the most rewarding for me, as I get to teach students week after week, year after year, and see their development the whole way. So that's kind of my sweet spot, but I do also enjoy phys ed is also really enjoyable too.
Right. The best of both worlds. To
Yeah,
teach
exactly.
A little bit of both. Right. Okay. So you studied classical guitar at University of Calgary and had some incredible mentors. So who are some of the mentors, and what one lesson do you think that still guides you today? That you
Oh, wow. Yeah, I did have a lot of good mentors other than Ralph Maier. I studied with Brad Mahan briefly when I was a kid, and also probably one of the best teachers I've ever had is Dr. Jeremy Brown at U of C. He, in my third year, when we were learning how to play all the woodwind instruments like clarinet, flute, brass, percussion, he was our mentor for creating a full music educator, not just on your instrument.
Yes.
And I think if there's one lesson that I remember most from him, it was on our first day when we were walking into class. He greeted every student by name at the door. And he said later that the reason he did that is so every student feels seen when they come into the room. So they're all connected. And that's something that I've continued to do for many years, and it's never failed me. It always works out really well. That among many lessons.
Of course, he is.
Yeah.
Dr. Jeremy Brown has influenced me a lot as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Yes. So that's musical mentors that you had and all throughout these years. Do you have any business mentors?
I guess you would be my biggest business mentor. If I've learned anything about running a music education studio, it's from you. And so now that I've started to strike out on my own, very small, I think what I'm noticing is that like I'm a music teacher, that's what I do. And so sometimes I don't focus as much on the business administrative side of it, especially marketing. So I've kind of relied on word of mouth to kind of run the engine of creating new students, but that's kind of coming to an end. I have to start pushing the marketing side of it a little more. So
Right. That's what we try to do at TeachMusic.Academy to provide students with some guidance on business side or the artistic side, how to teach for teachers. And a lot of these courses, sometimes we don't get it in our university days.
exactly, that's true.
Yeah. So hopefully TeachMusic.Academy can provide that gap and
That's
more,
very true.
more support for young teachers.
Yeah, in university, they really don't teach you about the administrative side, or not very much.
Not very much, yeah. Especially towards music-related business. You have an MBA from University of Victoria.
Yes.
How has this degree helped you with your early career, especially starting your own guitar school?
You know, it should be more. I should have learned more and be applying more of these lessons than I am. Definitely, I've learned about how to communicate with a variety of different people. I think that's the number one thing, communicating with people from all walks of life. And that also, from doing my MBA in Victoria, that led me to get my job with the Victoria Symphony as an administrator. And so that was also a very interesting experience for me. But the truth is I should probably work a little bit harder on bringing my MBA knowledge into my own personal business.
Right. Okay. All right. So let's talk about some philosophy, teaching philosophy and approach. You've taught both classical and contemporary guitar. How do you balance traditional training to help students explore different kind of music, because most students these days obviously want to learn pop and rock?
Yeah, it is tough sometimes when students if they've started off down the pop rock level, and then especially when their parents want them to achieve something and they move into the RCM program, there can be a bit of a disillusionment period where it's not as fun and relaxed anymore when you've got a test coming up and you have all of these different things that you have to do, and there's like pressure on the students. So I have had a few experiences where when a student moves into RCM, the magic is a little bit gone and their motivation goes away. But I've also had it go the other way where some students really thrive having a structure and having a goal at the end of the year. So as much as you can make it fun and not like too much pressure on the kid, that tends to work really well.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen good success because your guitar students did win the gold medal.
Yeah, I've had a
from
few
the
students
RCM.
who have done very, very well. So I'm very proud of them. And it also helps structure my teaching when you can kind of teach to the RCM test. It helps make sure that they do everything, including their musicianship. But I also really enjoy teaching, like K-pop Demon Hunters has been going off in the fall, and it's never failed me one time. Everyone who likes that movie loves learning Golden. And
Right.
so that's the trade-off. If they're doing an RCM exam, you don't have as much time to do the other stuff. But
Right. Okay. So what does music mean to you then?
I don't even know anymore. It's like it used to be something that was this fun pastime, and then when it becomes your work, it changes a little bit how you interact with music. But yeah, music is still probably if there's one thing I enjoy doing most, it's music. And actually, I just started playing in a new group called Electronic Symphonia, which is an EDM DJ and small orchestra. And at first I felt really out of place, like stylistically playing electric guitar with this kind of group. I felt like I didn't really know what I was doing, but then, I have really good group mates who helped assure me that I'm doing just fine. And I think it's really important for music teachers to keep practicing and keep having some kind of performance outlet to kind of keep you inspired and in the scene, to help you not get stale. I've definitely felt like after a few years of doing the same thing, you get a little bit bored of it. So
Definitely. So the teachers I find it very true. The teachers do need to get inspired as well. And the best way is to perform yourself and get involved in bands. Myself as well. We have
you're
started.
playing in a band with Anna and Javier.
That's right. Our staff have created a band ourselves called the Troublemakers. And
The Troublemakers.
The Troublemakers. And I'm playing the trumpet, Anna on voice, and Mr. Javier on piano. So again, playing live music and playing music again does re-inspired us as teachers, that we give all the time that we need to perform and play more to feel that.
Yeah, it's worth the work that it puts in.
Right. As well, I've also ventured into some jazz music, which, like you, I don't feel very comfortable in it because it's a new genre. But again, that's where sometimes our classical background kicks in, and you learn faster, but there's still a lot to learn.
Exactly. And it's fun and exciting and uncomfortable, but it's usually worth it.
Right, because it's room for us to grow as musicians.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? Excellent. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. What made you decide to return to the Yamaha Music Academy, the same place where your teaching career began?
I think I moved back from Victoria when my mother got sick. And so actually I was unemployed when I came back to Calgary, and I knew that I wanted to get back into teaching. And so I knew I could call you and you'd have a job ready for me. So, and I also felt a little bit loyal to the Yamaha program, because after my first year when I was 20, they sent me to Toronto to study with Tom Duffin, the guy who wrote the Yamaha book. And that week was very influential. So that by the time I got back from a week of training in Toronto, when I went to do music education at U of C, I felt like I was ahead of all of my peers. And so I was so grateful and influenced by the Yamaha program that when I came back, that's where I wanted to go.
Thank you for coming back, and we love to have you back at Musica Academy.
It's nice.
Yeah. So you have also started your own guitar school. Tell us more about it.
There isn't too much to say. Basically, Yamaha used to have the two locations, the Northwest and the Southwest. When the Southwest closed, I decided to try to keep all of the students that I have and just kind of migrate them over. And so Anna Pompieva and Zion came as well. And so Anna's teaching voice and piano and Zion on piano, but I have about probably 80% of the students on guitar. And so kind of like I said, most of the students I have right now are just through word of mouth, my former Yamaha students and their network of friends. but I should start to grow.
Right.
As good as it's going, you have to keep moving.
Correct. So what would be your biggest challenges, do you think, to get to a career in music and or teaching throughout this year, or starting your own guitar school? What is it?
The biggest challenge originally when I was looking for studio space, as I'm sure you know, the retail rent was so expensive that it was hard to find a place that was a really good fit that was also somewhat visible. So we ended up finding space with Calgary Music Academy in Abundant Life Church, which is really nice, but there could be limited space to grow. So there could be a chance where we would have to move to a new studio, and making that leap could be difficult because there's a lot of money you would have to put up front on the hope that you grow into the space. So
okay, excellent. For young graduates and teachers starting out, what advice would you give them about building a long-term career in teaching?
Yeah, for a young teacher starting out, I guess I would say try not to be idealistic. When I was young, I thought that this is how it should be. I had certain expectations. And when you get into the world and you realize things aren't exactly like that, I personally, at the time, I kind of became a little bit disillusioned or disgruntled. And that's actually why I left the teaching profession to go do the business degree. And now that I'm back to it, I think I have a little bit more of a mature, realistic understanding of what I can accomplish and what my students can accomplish. So if it's something you like, think about it as the long term. If you're getting stressed out or you're not thrilled with it, that's okay. Understand that's a normal part of the process. It's a long-term vision.
Right. So look for the end goal.
Yes.
And work towards it. Okay. Back to our time travel segment. What would you say to your 20-year-old self, not knowing everything that you know now?
I probably wouldn't have quit the teaching profession to do my business degree, even though I felt like I had to do something new at the time. I think I would be ahead of where I am now had I just stayed being a teacher. So actually, that's what I would do. I would have doubled down on what I'm doing now instead of being a little bit distracted.
Right. Okay. Was there any point that you felt that, at what point that you felt that this is not working and I want to quit, or do you still feel that?
Oh, no, I don't feel that. Now I'm really enjoying it. I think it was after my about first year teaching in the CBE. I had certain expectations of what I thought teaching in a public school was going to be like. And as is still true today, the CBE can be a little bit of a mess. Classes can be a little bit overcrowded. And that's not what I wanted to see when I was young. So now I think I'm willing to just kind of roll with the reality that that's how things are, and that's fine.
Well, thank you so much, Ben, for coming today to have a chat regarding teaching music, career challenges, and successes. We'd love to have you come back and talk more about your future goals for your own guitar school.
Okay, have me back anytime. Thanks so much for having me, Louis.
Thank you. If you like today's conversation, don't forget to follow us and subscribe to our TeachMusic.Academy podcast.